Hi, I'm Doug Oster from the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. Welcome to Digging with Doug. Today we are going to have some fun. We're planting tomatoes upside down. Earlier in the year I planted another one right over there, but we're going to plant a brand new one today. I learned of this technique back in the year 2000. Tom Robinson, who sadly has passed away, called me and said he had an innovative way to grow tomatoes. And when he showed me this technique, I thought it was the best thing I ever saw. You've probably seen the topsy-turvy tomato on television. I'm going to show you a better way to do this, and it's certainly going to be cheaper. So let's get to work. Okay, first order of business is going to be cutting this hole out of the bottom of the bucket. This is where the tomato is going to go in, and I don't think this is going to be a very easy job at all because it's a thick plastic, and I've started somewhere on here. Let's see. I just sharpened my knife, so we'll see how we do. Yeah, it's not easy. I think I'm going to have to just push it through. Oh, man. The downside on the topsy-turvy tomato is that the container's too small. And I saw them down in Florida, and the gardener that was working on them there was watering them like 3 times a day. That's why we want at least a 5-gallon bucket. You don't really want to go any bigger because what can hold 5 gallons of wet soil? We're going to have good support for this too. All right. We're through! See, that was easy. All right, so we have our hole and we're ready, and we're going to take this over, hang it up somewhere secure, and then fill it up with soil after we put the tomato in. Okay, now this little device here is an old peat pot, and I'm going to use it to hold the tomato in place. You'll see when I put the tomato through there, it's going to need a little something here, and I'm going to cut a V in this to hold it in place. So that's the next step. And this should be much easier to cut than the plastic. So we're going to cut our little V, and I'll show you when we get up into the pot what that's going to look like. All right. And then I like these peat pots because eventually they'll just kind of fall apart. All we need is something that's going to hold that tomato in place until the roots get big enough to hold it into the bucket. And then we're just going to put this into the bucket. You get our plant, and I'm using a plant here called Super Bush. And basically that's barely going to fit through that little hole, and then we're going to put that V here. All right, so here we go. And find our V on the other side. It's kind of like a magic trick. I feel it, and it's right there. All right, that's going to hold into place. And the next step will be fill this up with dirt. I'm going to use this Gardener's Gold. Usually I use Plant Pro potting soil, but they were out of it because I keep talking about it. So we use the Gardener's Gold. It's an organic potting soil. And all we're going to do is fill up this bucket with it. And again, you've got to have something that's going to hold 5 gallons of wet potting mix. And what I've got on there actually is when I first wrote about this in 2000, a guy made this for me, brought it to a speaking gig. All right, now we add the dirt. This might even be harder than cutting the hole out. There we go, just a little bit to start. And make sure that tomato holds in there. Looking good. Take a look. Whoops. Some extra potting soil on the ground. Can always use that. Oh yeah, that looks good. All right. Now we're in business. In gardening, you get dirty. And that's the fun part, because you're not going to get in trouble. I guess I should have figured out a better way to do this, but we started. Let's go. All right. All right, we'll take a look. So far, so good. Oh, I could smell those organic ingredients in there. A trick that Mr. Robinson taught me was to put flowers on top. When they start to wilt, look a little tired, you know it's time to water this thing. So I picked out some mixed double petunias. I love doubles, and we're going to put those in place. You can see These have been there for a while. They need to be broken up. Now the key to keeping this good and healthy will be fertilizing about every other week and watering when needed, which could be every day if it gets hot and we don't get any rain. Looking good. Upside down tomato. Now that's a conversation piece for people that visit the garden, isn't it? Ready to go. And I think all I have left to do is get the watering can. We'll water it in and we'll talk about next week. Next week, it's all about weeds, how to control them naturally and safely. And don't forget, if you've got a gardening question, log on to www.post-gazette.com/homes and click on the gardening forum button. I'd love to help you out. And if you've got an idea for digging with Doug, that's a good place to post it. Now I'm going to leave you with one of my favorite new plants. It's a begonia called Bonfire, and I've just simply fallen in love with it. We'll see you next week.